Hi friends, welcome to Edumento. In this video, we'll be going through the introduction to operating system. When I ask you about what's an operating system, you all will say that operating system is an interface between the user and the computer hardware, right? Users mean Users means we are the users. That means the ones who use the computer is the user. And computer hardware can include memory, that's our RAM, or it can be some I/O devices, for example, printers or the microphone, etc. And also it can include our CPU. So these all are the examples of computer hardware. What all are the common examples of operating system? The operating systems that we commonly see are Windows. Then we have Linux or Linux. Both the pronunciation is correct. One is American language and the other is British accent. Okay, both are correct. And we have Mac operating system, or it's also known as Macintosh. And it's a dedicated operating system for Apple laptops, workstations, etc. And for iPhones and iPads, they have their own operating system, that's iOS. So iOS and Mac OS, both are the operating system provided by Apple company. And we also have the Android operating system for normal smartphones. So these all are the examples of operating system. And this operating system is the most important part or the vital part of computer system. That's why we call the operating system as the kernel of the computer system. And we can say that operating system is an interface between the users and computer hardware. That means these are our users and these are the computer hardwares. And here is an interface. There is an interface between the user and the computer hardware. This interface is known as operating system. So can't the users directly access the computer hardware without this interface? So what do you think? Can the users directly access the computer hardware without the help of operating system? Maybe that's possible. Let's check out whether it's possible or not. Okay. So I will tell you one example. And in all my videos, I will try my level best to include real life examples so that it will be easier for you to understand as well as it will be easier for you to memorize the concept. So here, let's consider one example. Suppose you have to switch on the fan. Okay, so there is a fan and you have a switch. So what you have to do to switch on the fan? You will just go and press the switch, right? So when you press the switch, the fan will rotate, right? So simple. So the fan is the hardware and you are the user. So in order to switch on the fan, you have to press the switch. So the switch acts as an interface between the hardware, that is the fan, and the user, that is you. So you need the help of that switch in order for the fan to work, right? That is the same thing that's happening in case of operating system also. What if there is no switch? Suppose that there is no switch. So how can you turn on the fan? Maybe you can turn on the fan. How? Suppose that there is no switch, but there will be some wires behind the switchboard. So if you are having some electrical knowledge, you know which all wires to be connected. So in that case, you go and you connect those wires, thus you can turn on the fan. That's only because you are having some knowledge about the electrical part. What about a common man who doesn't have any knowledge about the electrical? In that case, he won't be able to turn on the fan, right? So that's the same thing happening here in operating system also. The operating system acts as an interface between the computer hardware and the users so that it will make the users easier to use the computer hardwares. That's why even though the users can directly access the computer hardwares, we don't normally do so. Why? Because the operating system makes it more convenient for the users to access the computer hardware. Suppose if there is no operating system and the users are directly accessing the hardware. In that case, if the user wants to access the CPU, he must write some code or he must write one program to access the CPU. At the same time, if he wants to access the memory or the RAM, For that also he want to write some softwares to access the RAM. If he want to access some IO devices, that case also the user want to write some program. So for accessing each of the computer hardwares, he have to write separate programs in order to access it. Not only for accessing the hardware, but also for every task he have to perform, he want to give instructions to this hardware, how to perform and what to perform. For all these things, he have to write individual programs. So all our tasks will become complex. So in order to reduce that complexity, we will use the interface in between the users and this computer hardware. That interface is our operating system. And because of this operating system, the users need not be aware of the background details. For example, in case of a switch and fan, the user need not be aware of what's happening behind. That means when he press the switch, he need not know what's happening behind, how the fan is working. So the switch make it easier or convenient for him to turn on the fan. Likewise, here in order to access the hardwares, the user need not know what's the background details happening here. So here you can see the actual structure. There are so many users and there is one application, and this is the computer hardware. It includes CPU, IO devices, RAM means our main memory, and etc. Secondary memory will be there, and so many devices will be there. And the operating system is acting as an interface in between the users and the hardware. So what's the need of applications here? Application means, for example, let's consider that you want to take a printout. You want to take a printout of one document. In order to take the printout of a document, what will you do first? First, you will open the document. You will open it using a MS Word document, right? MS Word application. So, MS Word is the application. For example, if you have to take a printout of a spreadsheet, you will be opening it using an MS Excel. Or if it's a PDF, you will be opening it using an Adobe Reader, right? So, those are our applications. And with the help of those applications, we will be opening our file. And after opening the file, what will we do? We need to take the printout, right? So in the toolbar, you can see a button. You can see a print button. Or you can see the symbol of a printer. So what will you do? Or you can just use the shortcut Ctrl plus P, right? So what's happening here? When you click this print button, actually a system call is invoked. The operating system will invoke a system call and the corresponding program, that means how to take the printout, how to access the printer and how to take the printout, everything will be written inside the program, and that program is our system call. So in order to open a file, we will be having a corresponding system call. For opening a file, the system call is open. In order to read a file, we have a read system call, we have a write system call, etc. We have so many system calls, and system calls we will be discussing in separate video. So whenever you do some actions, for example, when you click the print button, a corresponding system call will be invoked by the operating system, and all the rest of the program is done by that system call. So the user is not aware of what's happening behind, he is just clicking the print button. So for him, it's easier to take a print. If there is no operating system, he need to write the entire program that is actually written in the system call. So that will become very difficult for a common man. If he is a programmer, he may be aware of how to write that system call program. But for a common user, a normal person, he won't be knowing how to write that system call. So it will be difficult for him to take the print. So we can say that the primary goal of operating system is convenience. So the primary goal is convenience. So what's another goal of operating system? It is efficiency. For a common user, convenience is the most important thing. But what about someone who need to perform some complex tasks? For example, he want to perform some scientific calculations, or he want to perform so many tasks, and all these tasks are very complex, high difficult tasks and time consuming tasks. So in that case, convenience is not the only goal. In that case, efficiency also becomes one of the major goal of operating system. In case of efficiency, we will be talking about the term throughput. What is throughput? Throughput means the number of tasks done per unit time. That is the number of tasks completed per unit time. So it means how many jobs you can complete. Given a particular time, how many jobs you can complete. So it talks about the speed of the system, speed of the processor. By how much speed you are doing a particular task. So that in a given time, how much jobs you can complete. So that is what meant by throughput. And if the throughput is high, that means the efficiency of the system is high. And in case of doing complex tasks, you need a system that's having high efficiency. So you can tell that the primary goals of operating systems are: one is convenience and the other is efficiency. In case of convenience, we can say Windows will be the best, Windows operating system. In case of efficiency, we can say that Linux will give high efficiency over Windows. That is why most of the users are using Windows in their desktop or laptop rather than Linux. Because for a common man, convenience is more important. So now we can conclude by giving a proper definition to operating system. Right? So what's an operating system? So operating system is a collection of softwares that manages computer hardware resources and provide services for computer programs. So that is what we call an operating system, and these services are provided with convenience and efficiency. Now in the next video, we will be discussing about the characteristics or functionalities of operating system. Functionalities of operating system means, it means what are the functions of an operating system. For example, the operating system acts as a resource manager, as well as it acts as a memory manager. It also acts as a storage manager, etc. The operating system is having many functions, and we will be discussing each of these functions one by one in the next video. So that's all for now. See you in the next session. Thank you.